Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a look that I've wanted to do since I saw it, and it's Emma Watson's makeup at the 2014 Oscars. I have the photo here, so excuse if I kind of look down to, that's my left there, and I also have the mirror which you can see a little bit of it there, a sneak peek, but I kind of need that mirror quite close to me, so you'll be probably seeing that corner through the video. I have already prepped my skin with the No7 Beautiful Skin Day Cream that I always use, and today my skin was really dry, dehydrated and kind of wanted a bit more, so I popped on a little bit of the Mary Kay Extra Emollient Night Cream, which is the reason why I probably come off quite pale, because it's quite oily. It's a beeswax, I think, so it's quite sticky and quite makes you look quite oily, so I'm kind of reflecting that light a little bit extra. But I'm going to be, as always, using my Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade Porcelain, and this is shot towards the end of June, and it's quite, let me get my brush, and I'm using the buffing brush for this look, and we've been quite unlucky with the weather here over the last couple of days. It's just been pouring down, but we've had some really nice days of summer where we had some really nice sun, but I don't tan, so I can get away with using the Porcelain shade in the summer as well. I'm going to, Emma Watson, she's a bit more tanned than I am, so I'm going to kind of warm my complexion up a little bit using a bronzer. Like that. I'm going to go on to a concealer now. This is the Rimmel Hide the Blemish concealer. This is the Ivory one. I am going to take this as a little bit of my highlighter for the makeup. You can't really see me applying it as it is relatively close to my own skin tone, but I am avoiding putting this underneath my eyes. I'm going to put a little bit on the brush and sort of get just in there, because I find that it covers really nicely, and it says on it that it covers blemishes and under eye. What is it, under eye circles, but I find because it's quite thick, it's a very thick product, I'm just gonna press that in with my fingers. It's a very thick, creamy product, and I find it will sit on my fine lines underneath my eyes, and even with the powder, I have to constantly repowder, and for it to actually not set in there, and I'm not a fan of that, because I kind of like putting my makeup on and then having to do minimum to no touch-ups at all. I'm just pressing that into the skin, blending it a little bit. I'm also going to put a little bit on this on a couple of blemishes that I've got. And I'm going to, you can see a little bit of that red there, highlight my jawbone, as well as I have a little red dot right there and right there. I have some small breakouts on my forehead. Popping those on, and I prefer, because as I said the concealer is so creamy, I found the best way for me at least to blend it in is with my fingers. Then I am going to powder. I'm going to move that mirror a little bit out of the way. Use my Maybelline Fit Me powder in Ivory that I have hit pan on, and I'm just gonna pop that on, and that's that. I'm just tapping any excess product off and I just push it over the skin. Emma has got a lot bigger, bolder and stronger and it's quite straight brows than I do. I'm gonna start off like I always do. I'm gonna brush them through, sort of getting them a little bit sort of that straight kind of thing. My brows, they can be quite straight, but they are not as straight as Emma's. So I'm going to just, and then I'm going to go straight in with my brow pencil. Starting on the bottom of the brow, I'm going to get the sort of like the line for the brow set up straight. And the look here, it's quite strong, quite bold brows. So I'm going to just line my brows, and I get a little bit out of camera there, but I think I need that just to get them sort of aligned looking. And because they are so defined, it's gonna look a little bit unnatural on me. So I'm gonna brush them through again, sort of just getting them into that shape. Then I'm going to take a little bit of MAC Wedge on a angle brush. And run that through the brows, both to sort of just to soften the look, making it a little bit more natural, and to make it not as red. Use my regular brow gel, which looks not really clean, but it doesn't give off any colour. So I'm just going to run that through the brows, brushing them into that sort of full, and it comes off with quite a lot of brow gel. So I am going to run just brushing those on like that. And then I'm going to run over the top of that. Sorry if you hear the noise of my brush is rumbling. I'm just going to run my spoolie over the top so I can get rid of excess brow gel, because it applies a little more than I like. For the eyes, I'm going to start off with MAC Pro Longwear Painpot. This is in Bare Study. It does look like it's more of a matte thing on the eyes, but I'm going to need a base. I'm going to take the teeny tiniest amount of this over, pop on with one finger, and then I'm just going to blend with another, because I want a very little amount and I want it only on the lid. And I'm going to take my No7 Mini Beautifier here. I'm going to mix these two shades, this white and this kind of nude shade, together on a regular eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to run those over the top of that. not bringing it higher up than the crease, just like that. Like that. I'm going to start off with a little bit of MAC's Wedge, and I'll probably I will be mixing in from my Mary Kay palette this colour in the middle here, which is called Sienna. I'm going to start off with MAC Wedge on this little brush. It's a little bit smaller than the one that I used previously, but I prefer this for the crease, and I'm just going to take that around the crease, particularly in the inner and looking at it, it's almost like it's a straight line of shadow running all the way out. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Looks like just a line of shadow. And I'm just going to blend. And this is kind of just to get the guideline for the shade. And I'm just going to blend it up to the brow. It almost looks from the picture that it could have been mixed in with almost like a little bit of a black, because it's quite dark. Almost like a greyish black, so I'm going to use brown as much as I can. Ooh, not that, because getting black in moderation can be very difficult. Then I'm going to run in with my Sienna, which is a bit deeper. And by a bit, I mean quite a lot deeper, and it's also a little bit warmer. And I'm just basically putting that over the top of the wedge. And although the crease shadow that she has on doesn't appear to be as warm as it looks, almost like it's kind of a grey ashy tone to it. I don't have a colour that matches, and this is the closest I can get. And you could sort of try blending in some black or some grey, but I'm not going to take the chance because I think this looks quite good. And this on its own is also quite nice makeup. And it's the closest that I can get it. And it doesn't look as red in person as it does on the camera. So I just bring it quite strongly into the inner corner there. And I'll just blend that. Blend that all the way up to the brow, but not further down than the crease. The eyeliner. I'm using a brown pencil for this. This is MaxFactor Liquid Effect Pencil in Brown Blaze. And it's just a really deep brown with really high intensity, and it looks like she has her got a little bit of a flick. I'm gonna draw that in with the pencil, and then I'm gonna run into an angle brush and just take and pop that on an angle brush. And it is a very, very thin sort of barely there, but it helps elongate her eyes a little bit. So I'm just going to pop a tiny one. And just bring it in halfway like that. Now, before I line my top waterline, I'm going to curl my lashes because I find that it's easier when I do it that way. Then I'm going to look down in my mirror, slightly pull up there, and line the top waterline. We have two different eye shapes. Her eyes are a little bit smaller that way than mine are. So I think what she has lined a waterline, but she's kept the centre sort of open, not to, so that she doesn't close it entirely off, because it's quite elongated and full on the outer edge. So I'm going to do that, line the outer and the inner corner of the lower waterline as well, keeping the centre clear. So my camera ran out of battery, and whilst my camera ran out of battery, I kind of did some work on the eye makeup. I intensified the liner a little bit because my eyes tend to water when I put anything on the waterline. And a tips that I think it was Pixie Woo that I had it from, is that apply the eyeliner once first, wait a little bit and then reapply afterwards, because then it will kind of seal it in. So I did that, and then I applied a little bit of this is a little bit of a gold liner. This is a Body Shop one, and it's called Pure Gold in the centre there. And I intensified the crease just a little bit. My mascara, I'm just using my current favourite, which is the MaxFactor 2000 Calorie Waterproof Volume. And I really like this. But you can use any mascara that you want that is not too clumping. Onto the face, or the underneath the eyes. I'm going to take the eyeshadow brush that I used for the powder. I'm just going to take a little bit of that on the brush and just run that underneath the eyes, just to powder. And then I'm going to continue with the face, and I'm going to take a little bit of contour. I'm going to take this one right here. It's a duo bronze and it's matte with an angle brush, and it's from Mary Kay and it's called Sandstone. Taking the angle brush and I'm just dipping that in there, tapping it off. Making a little bit of that. Down the cheekbones there. And on the temples and around the hairline. Teeny bit of that on the jawline as well. And then I'm going to take a tiny bit of blush. It doesn't look like she's wearing much, and I'm going to mix these two right here together, and it's Sunny Spice, which is kind of like a neutrally orange beigey kind of colour, and Cherry Blossom. Take the Sunny Spice, which one the top one first, and just apply that a little bit on the cheeks. Just using the same brush. Then I'm going to take Cherry Blossom, and her blush was quite low on her cheeks, so I'm just popping that on. And I'm going to take my big powder brush and just buff those two shades nice and together so that we get a nice blended edge there. Now to the fun bit, the lips. She has got a red lip on, and I'm going to start with red lip liner. I'm using Cherry from MAC occasion, but just a line. God, it's so creamy. And when I've lined them, I'm just filling them in. Then I'm going to take a lip brush and just blend that out. Now for the lipstick, I'm using another MAC product here, but you don't have to use the same products I am. I'm using MAC's Viva Glam Rihanna in A93. It's basically a red, a kind of neutral red. It's not too red. It's not too blue toned, nor is it too orange, because I looking at it, it doesn't look like it's particularly of any. It's kind of red. So I'm just gonna pop that on in the centre of the lips, and then I'm gonna take my lip brush. And thank you so much for watching, and that was basically my Emma Watson 2014 Oscars makeup look.